Greeting, traveler.
Games.
The end is coming! Who am I?
Change your mind.
You require my assistance? Adigo! We're gonna be rich.
Games.
Inferno! Require my assistance? Who am I?
Let me change your mind.
Greeting, traveler.
I'm gonna lead off with the intro. All right. Hello, THL. You've got another exciting episode of Tavern Talk for you here tonight. I am here again filling in for Dano. Some things came up and they needed me to help out, so I'm happy as always to step in. Here as always with our stream op extraordinaire, Dusharmo. How you doing tonight, Dusharmo?
Doing good. I'm glad to have you back, man. It's always good to have you on. You always bring
Thanks for having me.
you always bring the fanboys, and I love it.
That's awesome. And of course, we've got JRJuggerlaw, our resident co-host throughout the season. How you doing, JR?
Well, let's see. I second everything that Dusharmo just said about Ron, and I feel better knowing that my hair doesn't look ridiculous for the first time in several months. So, yeah.
Hey.
You guys should have seen my hair before the show. Ask the guys. It was really bad. I'm gonna get a
I
buzz cut
believe you. That's
tonight.
the problem.
So
Hey,
ready
sometimes
at
you
least.
just got to throw on a hat too.
that's right.
There's always some
Foreshadowing.
kind of solution.
Foreshadowing.
But
All right, well,
yeah, I think Dusharmo's got something to cover, so go ahead and take it away.
just want to. Dano's going to be, just for everybody here, Dano's going to be stepping down from Tavern Talk, and he won't be doing it for the rest of the season. We're going to have a guest, a sort of a guest lead, co-lead for the rest of the season. Ron will be taking one of those. We'll have our old host, my Enodon, on a couple weeks, and then we're also going to have Brushy Tuna on next week. So it'll be an interesting kind of show that we'll be having here in the next few weeks for the remainder of the season. JR and I will still be here. And then last week we'll have RonMexico and Brushy Tuna on, which will be really, really nice because RonMexico and Brushy Tuna like to banter, as I said it, but they don't want to call it banter. I think they
Hey,
bickering, but it's good content.
I like the diplomatic word you chose to describe Brushy Tuna hosting. Interesting. Interesting can be a lot of
Yes.
things. Is interesting the right word?
But ultimately, I want to thank Dano. He's been on for a season and a half, and he's got a lot of stuff going on. And I encouraged him to, take the time and take care of whatever he needs to take care of. And we want to thank Dano. Dano's feeling a little bit under the weather too, as well. So my best wishes go to him, and I hope he feels better. I hope he gets better in all the aspects. And thank you, Dano, for the year and a half or the season and a half that you've given us here on Tavern Talk. It's been a very great year or season and a half. So thank you. Do any of you guys want to add something to that?
Absolutely. Just Dano's been a fantastic host on Tavern Talk. He's always been, someone who's been really exciting and brings a lot of energy. And we're not ruling out that he might come back at some point. And if he finds the time, if things kind of settle down in his life, he would be more than welcome to step back in, and we'd all be thrilled to have him again.
All right.
And
Jared?
I guess I just want to say, it's been I've been very happy to finally get to join the ranks of Tavern Talk, and it was really nice getting to know Dano from this, and really getting to banter with him, to enjoy his company. And I really appreciated how much you kind of made the transition for me, along with you, Dusharmo, making it very easy. So definitely going to be missed.
All right. Well, thanks again, Dano. Really appreciate it. If you catch the VOD, thank you. And we'll hopefully maybe you'll get to be on the show again and co-host with us and talk some legacy stuff. All right, let's move on. This is a brief segment that we're gonna do. We figured that it was worth a little bit of time. We're gonna talk about Twin Slice Nerf, or Buff and Wild as they call it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Odd demon hunters everywhere celebrate, but that is not legacy. So we are going to discuss the impact to standard,
Yes.
and this is pretty big. I mean, Demon Hunter had so many things that it could do with a 0 mana card, with Altruis, with the way this enabled Satyr and Battle Fiend and Glavebound Adept. This is possibly going to really create a lot of difficulties for Demon Hunter going forward, but there's always new innovation that can be made, and it does gain a little bit more attack, so there could be an opening there for just a new style. Until that period of refinement comes in, we won't know for sure, but definitely really big news, and part of the reason why the deadline is pushed back too, so where we don't have all the classes like we normally do for the lineups this week.
Yeah, and I think this nerf is I mean, it has its benefits in some areas. I think you're going to see a little bit more burst in Demon Hunter. It makes glaives a little bit better in some circumstances, where it does an extra attack per attack that it has, and it's got some utility, and it can remove early game stuff. You just won't be able to do it while placing a minion down. So it is a nerf, but I think that there is going to be a really nice Demon Hunter list out there. Maybe an odd Demon Hunter, not odd Demon Hunter, that's wild. A Highlander Demon Hunter list, and maybe even people will go back to the old-fashioned one with the priestess. So we'll see. Jr.
So I'll just say what I was saying to Ron before we actually talked about this is that I think the two biggest impacts of this change are going to be one, that there's going to be Demon Hunter is not going to be quite as as fast or be able to pull off some of the aggressive plays it wants to. It's going to definitely not be as efficient as it was before. Being able to give your weapon more attack thanks to the Twin Slice having 2 attack instead of 1 is nice. But obviously that means you probably are going to have to hold back on playing certain cards like Satyr on turn 3, because now you won't have a way to do that and hero power unless you already have a weapon up or unless you have coin. So I guess we'll have to see how people choose to play it. The second big impact, though, is I'm very interested in seeing if Altruist is still going to be as powerful, because even though Altruist can still do a lot without Twin Slice, it's very apparent that Twin Slice as a card was furthering a lot of those combos before. So it definitely enabled a lot, and I'm very curious to see if people still find Altruist to be as powerful, knowing that combos like that won't be as prominent.
Yeah, it's a good point. And I mean, definitely it's going to hurt Altruist quite a bit, but there is going to be an interesting, new kind of gameplay potentially, just with Twin Slice and Second Slice being 4 attack instead of 2 attack when you play those 2 cards together. One other thing that I think is important to note is that Blizzard seems to be kind of taking a new approach to nerfs lately. When they nerfed Altruist, they gave him 1 more attack. They nerfed Twin Slice, they give it 1 more attack. So they're not just nuking things from orbit with nerfs quite as much as they did before. They're trying to mitigate a little bit of it with, here's a little increase. So it'll be interesting to see if that continues as a pattern with future nerfs that we might see come out.
Absolutely. All right. Next, we'll talk about our regular segment. We'll move on to lineup stats from last week. So I actually added an extra stat up here for you guys, an extra line, because I figured Demon Hunter, Mage, Warrior has the same amount as the other one, so I figured I'd add it there. Not doing so well.
Yeah, it's a bit of a struggle. That top lineup, oh my goodness, 34 times it was brought last week.
Yep.
And still overall positive win rate too. So Demon Hunter, Druid, Hunter, Warrior, still looking dominant. It'll be interesting to see if that continues in frequency given the nerf. I'd say that's unlikely, and win rate probably also wouldn't continue again with the same nerf consideration.
Right. And I mean, it's a strong lineup. The Druid in there adds a lot of flexibility to the lineup, and Druid is just can high roll on any class that you have, and can just win any lineup. So it's a strong class, and I could see it in there. And then you got a lot of lineups not bringing Druid, and you can see that they're 50% or less. So I think this is going to change after the nerf. I don't know how much is going to change. It depends on what kind of list Druid is going to. I mean, a Demon Hunter is going to bring, and if it's going to be viable enough. JR?
Honestly, there's so much uncertainty to the current situation that I'm not really sure what to think exactly, because I think the biggest change of Demon Hunter being nerfed is that if it really does fall down a bit, it's sort of what we kind of expected to happen before, like the most recent nerfs, where other decks sort of became more prominent because they were now suddenly able to better compete. So like decks like Mage and Priest, I could definitely see rising up in popularity as a result, but at the same time, it's kind of Ron was saying, there's still a lot of power in the chain in Twin Slice, and a lot of power in the deck itself. So I don't see Demon Hunter suddenly becoming unplayable. It's really going to be a question of how much power does it lose and how much dominance does it therefore lose as a result.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Alright.
always fascinating little experiments in the meta, even when a single thing is nerfed, how much of a ripple effect it can have. So we'll see in the weeks to come.
Right.
Awesome.
And that's the thing about Twin Slice. It's one card, but when you kind of recognize that how many different types of plays it furthered within Demon Hunter, it makes a lot of sense if you're going to perform a nerf to nerf that.
Time runs out on me.
I would say if you follow R Hat on Twitter, he actually he shared a screenshot of a Discord chat he had with somebody explaining why he thought Twin Slice was going to be the ideal card to nerf and why he thought that's what they were ultimately going to touch. And I think it does a good job of going in depth as to why it made a lot of sense from multiple standpoints. So I definitely recommend you go check that out.
Solid R hat shout out. Nice.
Hey, I like having a good excuse for that.
Awesome. Let's move over to the first match of the Gold Conference. This is our review, and that is Hot Zilfs versus Defias.
Yeah, I believe you have this one, Dusharmo.
Yeah, actually, I do. I wrote out stuff for the other one, but this one I missed this one for some reason. Yeah, just another big win for the Hot Zilfs, keeping up the top of the Gold Conference. Defias really needed some points from this. They got it. 10 points is good, and 99 points at where they're at right now is not bad. I think they're still in contention. Hot Zilfs, I think, have basically solidified their playoff spot right now. They're sort of just piling on the extra points, maybe practicing for playoff lineups here. And there's some really big wins on both sides. Coles and Rebob picking up the big wins in the 1 and 2. Huge from Rebob for getting that 3-0 over Comp. Comp's a very strong player. But on the other side, Avagui picking up a big win over Donde, a very strong 3 seed, probably arguably one of the best, if not top 3 seeds in the THL right now, and Avagui picking up that win. And then Anful picking up a win over Neb Canuck, who is almost 50 PR more than him. So some really strong wins here, and I think we'll see Hot Zilfs there, but Defias Brotherhood, I'm not sure. Maybe not, but they're still in a position. Ron, what do you think?
Yeah, this was big for Defias. They needed to keep their point streak going, and the season's winding down, so there's still time, but they've got to start winning again and fast. For Zilfs, they're on a 6-game win streak right now. They are the absolute kings of gold. As Diamond mentioned in chat here, Zilfs and Murgle, which happen to be playing each other this week, which we'll get to shortly, which is really exciting. So this set up a nice match between two 6-1 teams. Just across the board, Zilfs has been playing incredible. I was impressed by Avagui winning over Donde in the 3 as well, and I don't think we've been talking enough about Mojo Powell's season in the 5. He's been dominant, and he's really keeping Defias in the playoff hunt. So I think they kind of rely on him to see if they can have a chance for playoffs. But just an exciting match all around, and looked pretty close, and that's at least a moral victory for Defias against a team as good as Zilfs.
Awesome.
Yeah, this was a pretty. I'm trying to look at the schedule quickly because I wanted to see who did Zilfs play week 1 because
that'd be my team. That'd be the Stubs. That's their only loss.
Oh my goodness, they did. Yeah, and that was their only loss. And to be fair, you guys are still a strong team, but it's crazy to think that they lost the very first week and now it's just they're basically untouchable. I shouldn't say untouchable right now, but they clearly wanted to show everybody that loss was a fluke. And looking at both their overall score and the individual records of their players, they're definitely showing that.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but I'm not biased or anything.
No, but I will look forward to talking about them a little bit more when we get to this week's matchups. Just because, oh god, I already know which match is going to be the hardest one to call this week.
Yeah, all right. So, let's move on to the next one then, which is Murgle
versus
and ATL.
ATL.
And I've got this one here. Again, like I just mentioned, we have a match right now. Both of these teams are 123 points and 6-1 and playing each other in the Gold Conference this week. I'm really excited to talk about their match, but not yet. Murgle versus Always Top Decked Lethal was really close. I mean, if any match goes the other way, then ATL wins it. Dabs getting a big victory over A2 in the 1. Free Hong Kong, Pond taking that win over Dibs in the 2. That one went 5 games. Buse versus Blue Spartan went 5 games, with Buse taking it in the 3. Debs versus Matty Ebbs went 5 games, with Debs taking the win in the 4. And then Shunsui with a big win over G-Kick, who had only lost once before, with a 3-1 there. So just really close throughout. ATL showing that they're also an excellent team and a contender. 2 points behind the Zilf's opponent from last week in Defias, and same thing goes for them. You know, the season's running out. They're almost out of time, so now is the time for a big win streak if they're going to have a chance, because these top teams have established about a 20-something point lead, and that's tough to overcome when it gets late season.
JR?
I don't really have much else to add. This was a very close match, and I'm very curious to see where both of these teams end up with these last 2 weeks left, because Murgle seems pretty locked. ATL, I think, is still in it, but they're definitely going to need to. I think they need to win out these last 2 weeks if they even hope to have a shot.
Yeah, they're about. I was looking at it right now. I think they're 11 points behind. Let's see, they're 97, 108. Yeah, they're 11 points behind fourth place right now. So, I mean, that's a lot of points. When you get near the end of the season, you have 3 games left. So, they do. I mean, they have a chance. They're not out of it, but they have to perform these last few weeks. This is the point where you win or you're out kind of deal. And I think they're in the
Pretty
same
much.
they're in the same boat as Defias Brotherhood. So, I think we're looking at Murgle in the playoffs, and always Top Deck Lethal. They need to get some wins here.
Yeah, I think like 11 points is definitely like it's manageable, but there's definitely no way you can make up that kind of difference if you don't win both of these last 2 matches.
Yeah, because you're thinking the top 2 might already be locked in Zilfs and Murgle, and then Teenage Mutant Demon Hunters and Stubbs are right there in 3 and 4, only about 10, 11 points behind the top teams. So it makes it pretty tough for anyone else that's outside of 4th place right now to catch up. But win streaks happen, and now is the time.
So we'll obviously talk more about the playoff picture next week, but I definitely think from first glance, Zilfs and Murgle would have to have both of them would have to have like an abysmal week among these last 2 in order to have enough teams pass them, in my opinion. So I think I don't want to jump the gun, but I think I'm pretty confident saying both of them are guaranteed to make it. And we'll leave it at that for now.
All right, we're holding
Awesome.
them to it. It's the JR guarantee.
Oh God, if that becomes a thing.
Now we're going to move on to our next match, JR. This is yours.
I'm glad.
An upset here. Teenage Mutant Demon Hunters versus a Noyo team.
So this one was definitely a big surprise. Just because Anoyo team have obviously been struggling, not terribly, obviously. They were 2 and 4 going into this week, but they managed to pick up a huge win against arguably, at the very least, the 3rd best team in the conference so far. I will say it is a bit unfortunate that there were 2 DQ results in this match. But I am also kind of like, at least it evened out. Both teams got a win. Both teams got a loss. It makes it feel like it didn't really have much of an impact on the actual match. So I don't think that should take away from the Noyo team's victory. But as far as the matches that were played, those were in the 1, 4, and the 5. We had a Maj 10 taking a 3-1 over Skittles, who, as we have said, is not Heat Shock. But at the same time, Skittles is really good. So I'm sure, that's still a tough opponent to take down. And then Mad at Arms took down Super Murloc 3-2, and Rage Doppel taking down Totino's Pizza 3-1. But of course, those 2 match wins, in addition to the DQ win in the 2, gave Anoyo team the 13-11 win. Very close. It still looks like they're too far off from making playoffs, but at the same time, big win for them. They should definitely take pride in this one.
Absolutely. I mean, they're 3-4, and they're in a solid position to pick up that 4th seed in the playoffs. There, I mean, they're only 6 points behind, and the Stubs, that right there, they're only 6 points behind it. So, yeah, good on them. That shows that they are picking up some points throughout the weeks there, and I'm sorry, what am I doing?
Are you looking at? Are you still talking about Anoyo team? Because I was gonna say it looks like they're closer to being out of it. They need
I'm sorry.
some serious fire to get into the playoffs right now.
I do this every week.
You
look
just
at
got
the wrong match. I'm looking at the wrong match.
I'm not judging.
I'm opping right now, so I'm like 1 match ahead of everybody right now.
You're fine. So just the rest of what we might say about Anoyo team.
I would have laughed
is
about it because I'm an idiot. So.
They had a great upset.
That makes 2 of us here who didn't get enough sleep last night.
No, I got enough sleep. I'm just 1 match ahead, so I'm like looking at everybody else's match ahead.
Fair.
Anyway, scratch what I said. I will be talking about that the next time that we have it. But yeah, Teenage Mutant Demon Hunters coming in strong, and Anoyo sort of out of it. I don't think they're statistically out of it, but they're gonna have to pick up like sweeps.
Yeah. It can be done, but it's a tall order. It does start, with a big win over a favored team like this, though. So that's an impressive victory. Good job to them for sure.
You know what I love? I love that you guys just sat there and like let me do it.
I was trying to figure it out.
I was trying to figure it out too. Honestly, I couldn't tell what was going on.
You guys were like, you guys were just sitting there like. What is he talking about?
Logic.
And your face was like all stone cold, like now, like what? What is he saying? Like, I got to do it at least once per time. It's you guys should look at my. You guys can see my screen, right? I'm like looking over here. I got to make sure that I focus on the right side and not the left side.
Nice.
All right.
I got you, buddy.
All right. Let's go to the next one. This one I'm not going to mess up because I am talking about this one. This is. Stubs versus Blood Bloomers, and that 1 seed, Ron picking up a loss there, but I mean it was versus Adamos, who was 6-1, so
he's a beast.
Adamos
is really good. He gave me a lot of trouble. I tried to sneak a mage through, and it didn't really work out too well for me. I just kind of got punished, and that's what good players do. So kudos to him. Yeah. He really showed up and played awesome.
Yeah, and
I'm glad the rest of the team came through for me though.
Yeah, they did, and it kind of gets you guys in that 4 seed right now, where your guys are you're still in that playoffs. I mean, it's your playoff spot to lose from here on out. So you guys just keep winning, and you'll be in. But Blood Bloomers did pick up 11 points, in which what I was talking about before when I was talking about in the other match. Blood Bloomers are only 6 points behind Stubs and have a much needed points that they've picked up on other games, because they're 3-4 and they're 2 losses behind the Stubs, but only 6 points behind them. So Blood Boomers are not out of it. They have a very solid chance, and they have some great players. I mean, Adamos and Sanguine and Silver Tea picking up the slack in the 1, 2, and 5. And if we can get the 3 and the 4 to pick up a win here and there, maybe one of them pick up a win, I think we might see this be able to turn around. And the Stubs bringing Priest and winning with it, despite my my prediction. And I need to turn off this thing. It keeps pinging. Anyway, so kudos on to Stubs picking a win, and like I said, it's their playoff spot to lose. JR, what are your thoughts?
I mean, honestly, I'm not surprised by the success with Priest. I do think it's better than people give it credit for, but I'm not going to pretend like I'm so eager to bring it myself, so make of that what you will. But Yeah, I would say this was a pretty big win for the Stubs as far as like matches from last week. This might have been one of the biggest wins because when you look at the standings and see that these guys put themselves now in a solid 4th place, like the big thing is they're right now only 2 points behind Teenage Mutant Demon Hunters, and they're 10 points ahead of the 5th place team, the Blood Bloomers. So while that is obviously a gap that can be overcome, especially when there's really 3 teams that are within range, I still think it's pretty big as far as giving them some wiggle room. Like if they get if they get like a loss but get decent points from it one week and then get a solid win another, then I see them being in very good spot to make playoffs, even if it's just barely in the 4.
Yeah. Ron, you got any last thoughts on it? I know you said a couple things there.
Just happy that my team was able to pick up a win here. It puts us in playoff contention, and for the Blood Bloomers, they're a very strong team that still has a very solid shot at the playoffs. Just a minor setback. They still picked up 11 points here, so if they can pick up some big points in the weeks to come, then they definitely have a really good chance of making playoffs. So we'll see how it shakes out.
Awesome. We'll move on to the next match. Amber Flight Gaming versus Serenite Pangang. JR, this is your match.
I think you all know how long I've been waiting to talk about this situation.
Yep.
Amber Flight Gaming, they did it. I am so happy you have no idea. But yeah, they picked up their very first win of the season. I'm sad that they're still 1-6 and probably out of range of the playoffs. But you know what? Good for them. I'm glad they managed to take this win. And I'm very happy for Christine, especially, who managed to break her losing streak and pick up her first win of the season. And with wins between her, Dragon Rider, and Neji Boston, they got a big 16-12 win. And it's worth noting that even both of their losses went to Game 5. So Amber Flight definitely brought it this week, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's exciting. I'm really glad to see Amber Flight getting their first victory of the season. It felt like it was a long time coming. They had so many close calls, and it's got to feel good to get that first victory there.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I feel bad for just both of these teams because I look at them and I see some strong players, that they just haven't been having the best of seasons for them. It happens. It's unfortunate. But I hope just whether they stay a team, these teams stay together. Like, I really hope Amber Flight especially comes back. I always know with Darkside and Serenite Pangang, I'm sure we'll see them back in some form. But Amber Flight being a new team, I really hope that they're going to use the season, come back. Ferris Biscuit's going to maybe not necessarily change the team up, but just now that they kind of know what to expect, maybe they'll come in more successful. Because I have to imagine they're gaining a lot of learning experience from all the matches they've played, even all of the losses they've suffered as a result.
Absolutely, and I'm gonna have to echo you guys' sentiments there. I think both of these teams have promise. I think for Serenite Pangang, I kind of feel a little bit for Darkside and Travis. They've really been doing well, 4-3 and 4-2, and their upper seats haven't been performing so much. I know Serenite Pangang has had some DQ issues with some of the newer players, and Dr. Bomb. He's playing in the 1 seed with a 421 PR. I mean, that's not. I mean, 1 seed you think are around 500. I mean, that's a 2 seed PR there. But I'd like to shout out those 2 bottom seed players for really performing and still giving it their all, even though their team's kind of sort of out of the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. There's always something
Agreed.
to play for.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, Dr. Bomb is my pro teammate, so I definitely know he can handle it. But you know what? Being put in the 1 seed, speaking from experience, it's no easy task.
Right.
Definitely is not.
All right. Well, we're going to move over to the Red Conference, and we're going to talk about the first match. And I will be fixing your cam here because you're off to the left side on the Red Conference. But go ahead and take it away.
Okay.
I'll fix it
All
while
right,
you're talking.
So I got this one here. Good luck Albatrosses versus F2L Red. And man, I just got to say, F2L Red seems to really have recovered from their case of amnesia since they've remembered to lose quite a bit this season. It looks like they're all but out of the playoffs at this point. But I can't blame them running into Good Luck Albatrosses this week. They are the top team in Legacy, 133 points, 6-1. Just dominant performances across the board through almost every match all season long, it seems. Lotus Knight with a big win over MMI in the one. Berserk is a really strong sub for F2L, who might have just come in a little bit too late for the team to make a difference. He did pick up a good win over Inzi in the two, but the rest of the games went the way of GLA, with Dusharmo getting the 3-1 over Lemur, Mike V getting a 3-1 over Shiny Pants, and Chewbacca with a sweep over Lerper here. You know, what more is there to say than this just is an F2L Red season, and it's definitely Good Luck Albatross's season here.
JR?
GLA is a team that I've said on multiple occasions I really love, particularly because of the people on the team. I think they're one of the strongest looking teams you'll ever see, and their results shouldn't be surprising to anybody. And there was a point where I was just like, probably out of jealousy, like kind of upset at how well they were doing. Or maybe that was just getting swept by Dusharmo that made me feel that way. But I think it's funny at this point how, they've just been so dominant. I'm kind of just at the point where even if I don't love a team being that dominant, I can't deny it's beneficial to my team. Like, we've already played them. At this point, they're locked for the playoffs. Them losing doesn't really have any benefit to me. So at this point, it's just like, hey, if you're going to knock some teams down and make it more likely for my team to make the playoffs, who am I to complain? These guys are just a force to be reckoned with right now.
Yeah, and I like to shout out my teammates. It's Mike V and Chewbacca both performing really, really well in the 4 and the 5. I think this is their coming out season, showing, hey, we shouldn't really be in those seeds anymore, and they're outperforming their seeds. So I think you find good teams tend to do that. There's going to be seeds where people are outperforming their seeds, and then they'll move up a seed the next season, and then they do okay. So a lot of that going on Good Luck Albatross. So, but I'm proud of my team, and I'm looking forward to continue playing with these guys. The bad news is we will not be able to stick together next season because we're like at 2100 PR, so 300 PR over the cap right now. So there's no
that's
way.
what happens when you light everybody up.
Yeah.
And last season you guys were doing pretty well, but you guys weren't that much above the PR. Like, you guys lost Catman and you got Inzi, but that wasn't like I want to say that was about what, like 30, 40 PR difference?
It wasn't a lot of PR, but it was enough to pick up Inzi. Inzi was in the low the mid 400s.
I think he was like 480s, wasn't he? Or like
he was in the
480
400s.
something? Yeah. So I'm pretty sure.
Anyway.
Yeah, you guys are gonna, I guess you guys will figure something out, though.
Yeah. All right. Well, you guys want to move on to the next match?
Yes.
Absolutely. You've got this one coming up here, Dusharmo. HSA versus Redacted.
Very good. All right. Redacted here picking up a second loss in a row, but it seems like Redacted is always playing the top teams. Last week they were playing GLA, and now this week they're playing Hearthstone Academy. So I don't think that this shows what Redacted is. I think Redacted is much better than this. I think they just had an off week. Hearthstone Academy, on the other hand, picking up a big win over a team that everybody thought was going to be a really strong team, and Based Ink and Booze showing, hey, look, we can handle the 1 seed guys. It doesn't matter what PR we are. We could be 150 PR or whatever, 80 PR below the people above us, but we're still going to pick up the W's. Mako's still struggling in the 3, but that doesn't matter when you have the other teammates, Based Ink, Booze, Ghost, and even Sage, playing well and strong in their respective seeds. 18-point win is huge. That is a like almost a goose egg in football standards, 28-0 kind of thing. So big statement win from Hearthstone Academy, and this puts them in second place. Now, for the Red Conference, their how do you say this? Their 2nd through 4 is a lot closer than in the Gold Conference. 106 all the way down, and we go all the way down to Dad Legend, who's I think is the 6th team, or There's 10 teams, so the 8th team in the conference is only 13 points off of Hearthstone Academy. So Hearthstone Academy still has a lot of work to do, and have to continue to perform. So this is really interesting. 2 through 8 in the red division is up for grabs, and I think any one of them could grab it. And heck, I think even Chaos Theory has a slight chance. They're at 88 points. So looking forward to seeing what these teams can do, and looking forward to seeing if Hearthstone Academy can repeat their performance.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Good Luck Albatrosses has like a 30-point lead or something on the rest of red. But
Right.
everyone else in red is really clustered together. And I was really impressed with Hearthstone Academy's performance here. I know they raised a lot of eyebrows with their PR construction at the start of the season. But I think Based was always destined to be in the one. I think she's just insanely good in every series. And it was only a matter of time before she eventually works her way up to a 550, so she was just kind of a bargain PR to begin with. I also think it's kind of interesting looking at their logo. That's what they were seed-wise at the start of the season.
Yeah.
So Mako 1, Base 2, Ghost 3, Booze 4, Sage 5, and that's just flipped all over the place.
Yep.
But they're
Yeah.
really making it work now with their current construction. I can't say enough about Based and Booze, especially Booze with a huge sweep win, and he's 6-1 on the season. This team's really catching fire.
So yeah, it's funny because like if you so right now currently the current roster is Ghost and Sage are in the same places that they started in, but everybody else has moved around. But last
Actually,
week,
Ghost flipped
everybody
too.
but Sage was in a different position, a different seating position from where they started. I mean,
Yeah.
so it's pretty crazy how much they've moved around overall.
And I don't think Redacted is in trouble by any means. They're right in the mix of the playoffs. Agent PWE and Pasca are really carrying this team, and if they can get some more wins out of Glocko or Cal, then they should be right on the verge of playoffs.
Well, I will just say I have to disagree with you with that on that, Ron, because I think they really are in trouble this week.
We'll have to wait and
they're
see.
playing your team, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Speaking
they
of
are.
speaking
There's
of
the
your
clue.
team, we're going to talk about that next. And RonMexico, why don't you take it away?
That's right. So Illidan's Death Knights versus Beast Mode. Man, Illy Dilly himself would be
Dilly.
proud. 4 Demon Hunter brings and a
Yes.
victory over a tough team
Finally.
in Beast Mode. I think Beast Mode is really in need of a strong late season run now. They're in red along with the rest, so they're not out of it because there's so many teams mixed up in there. But IDK really put a big statement week on what is shaping up to be a pretty big playoff push for them. They were having a bit of a tougher time earlier in the season, but is this consecutive wins, JR?
Yeah, so we've won the last 2 weeks. It's actually funny. We haven't really struggled that much. We've only had 2 losses. It's just that both of the losses we had were pretty destructive. So, but like if you're looking at like, as far as wins go, we've actually won
Poor
3
Diamond.
of our last 4 matches.
Win-loss total matters
sorry,
so little in a series like this, when at the end of the day it's all down to the points. So if you miss out on points in a loss, it can be so much more devastating than any other things that happen. But across the board, this was a strong performance. Catman was the only loss, and it was a sweep to Avi. And hey, these things happen. Avi's the kind of player that can sweep anybody.
Yep.
Catman's still having a pretty strong season. NHL, Martin Brodeur, as we like to call him on Saloon, had a big win over Zancat in 5 games. JR, I mostly did the troll pick against you last week, so you showed me up with a 5-game win over Bill Snyder.
Out of curiosity, did either of you watch my match against Bill Snyder on stream?
Unfortunately, I missed it. I can always go back and watch the VOD. I'm sure it's entertaining as a 5-game series.
You will laugh your ass off at how ridiculous the outcome of that of Game 5 was. That's all I'm going to say.
Gotcha.
Was it Rogue?
And then big
Was
wins
there
by
Rogue
Siege and
involved in that
Corky
last
Turtle,
match?
too.
There was a Rogue involved.
Yeah,
yes.
so I figured so much RNG generation in Rogue.
Yeah, that's right. As Super Murloc, unbiased chat commentator notates, that 5 seed is fire right now.
Oh
Quirky
God.
Turtle Super Sub
She
3
gets
and 0.
she gets to retire with an undefeated season, and she couldn't be happier. And I can't say I
That's
blame her.
that's awesome. What a way to show up and fill in for the team there.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I like to echo that. Quirky Turtle coming in really strong, 3-0. Probably, if she was on your team the full season, maybe you wouldn't be struggling that fourth spot in the playoffs or the third spot. I think you're in the third spot now. You probably
I
might
mean,
be.
I still think we're in a pretty good position, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Just
Yeah,
having
I
a
do.
strong player like that to fill in is really good, especially in the 5 seed and especially with 50 PR. Just really
Yeah.
good.
But I
I mean, I'm
mean,
honestly,
these two teams, separated by 3 points after the outcome of this game. It's
oh
crunch
yeah,
time now.
Yeah.
Every week is super important going forward. So good win, but you got to keep it up. And for beast mode, shake it off, and there's plenty of time left to punch your ticket.
Absolutely.
the last thing I just want to say is that I've just been really proud of my team overall. I feel like there's been a lot of steady improvement, especially from both Marty and from Siege. Quirky Turtle obviously was a huge part of this. Her being able to come in when we needed her after the circumstances in Jerry's life came up was fantastic. But I also do think I'll talk about this more with my actual match. But I think Jerry is ready to carry the torch that Quirky has been holding for her and carry that momentum. So I feel very good about our chances, even with our upcoming match. And I will also say I actually called these exact same results. I literally said on TT last week that Catman was going to be the only person who lost.
Wow.
So I just want to throw that out there.
There you go.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to the next match. I think this is yours, JR, to talk about. Dirty
Yes, it
Mike and the
is.
Boys and Dad Legend. And Dad Legend showing they're still Dad Legend. And you know what? They're still in position to come into this playoff. Not that many points off. So maybe. What do you got, JR?
Dad Legend is an enigma this season. I don't know how else to describe them because they've been so up and down the entire time. I can't even, I don't even know what to say. But in terms of this week, big win over Dirty Mike and the Boys, that's for sure. A big 17-10 win. They managed to get wins in everything but the 5. That is dominant right there. Zay beat Fuel, a very tight match between two titanic players. I ended on sweeping Tony Montana, who's still been having a really good season. Yellow Dart beating Surlos, and Dirted beating Lefty. It's funny how you mentioned how they're in 8th place and they're still very much in this, but I feel like it's one of those things where I know Dad Legend could end up finding themselves in the in one of the playoff spots. But they're so unpredictable right now. I don't know what's going to happen.
They were. I think they might have been last week, but they're in. Oh, they're in 8th place. Yeah, you're right. Never mind. You're right.
Okay, I think you said that before. That was
No, you're right. You're right. I was thinking that we had 8 players in the conference, but you're right. We have 10 players in the conference. I keep forgetting that.
Yes.
But they are in 8th place. You're right.
Yes. So I think I'll have more to say once we actually talk about their match for this week.
Absolutely, and I agree with you there. I mean, this kind of puts Dad Legend in a great position to sort of sneak up and get in that fourth spot. A lot of teams picking up wins now. I voted against Dirty Mike and the Boys simply because of Priest, and at least so far, every person who brought Priest lost. So I don't know. Maybe I even think I called this out exactly. Everybody who bought Priest lost, and Astrofog was going to win in the 5. So maybe Priest isn't the bring. I don't know. I know a lot of teams have been trying to target Warrior, but I don't think that that's a smart thing to do. Target Warrior. Warrior can high roll and win, and Warrior can even beat Priest. It's there's combos that you can do with Warrior that can get a Priest down from 20, 23, 25 health. So
yeah, true.
But yeah,
you definitely have to be careful in that matchup.
This one, I mean, Dirty Mike has a solid chance of still making it, and for Dad Legend, I'm never too surprised when they win over any opponent. They're such a strong team. I just got to say, Mayan, if you're out there watching, you're welcome for me picking you to get swept. clearly that motivated you to sweep your opponent in return. So you're welcome there, buddy.
Yeah,
Oh boy.
and Tony Montana having a good season at 5-2 and picking up a 3-0 win. I know Tony did move up from the 3 to the 2, which is a big leap sometimes depending on player. I mean, going to Myanodon in the 2 is really strong, and having played him, I could tell you that he's not an easy player to play against.
For sure.
All right, we'll move on to the next match. We have Pod People versus Chaos Theory, and this is mine, I believe.
It is.
Yeah, so again, another team in the lower ranks here picking up a win and putting themselves in a position to be to take a playoff spot. And I think the Pod People are in the 7th position, right above Dad Legend, and they're only 4 points off of 4th place. And if I'm not mistaken, off of 2nd place, they're only 9 points off of 2nd place. So not that many points. And in these next few weeks, we're going to look and see some big changes in moving if these teams can get some wins in the lower seeds. And we'll look at that when we look at the matches for next week. But a huge win from Pod People. I mean, I know Chaos Theory not a strong team, but at least now, unfortunately. And I think this sort of puts them out of it. I think there's too many teams vying for that 4th spot, too many teams close together. I think it'll be very hard pressed for Chaos to make it. I don't think they're statistically out, but they're going to have some funky things happen for them to actually make the playoffs. And Hockey Boys coming in big. Hockey Boys is still strong, 5-2, just not really having the support of his team to help him win those matches. And Phoenix coming in, picking up a 3-0 win over Icicles. Icicles not an easy 2-seed player. And Saku also picking up the L versus Barcode. Barcode coming in with a little win there. So I think we're look out for the Pod People for the playoffs. And Zerosia will come back in, and I think Zerosia still will be a strong 2-seed and will be able to help carry Pod People to the playoffs. Pod People do this every season. Yeah, they're always at the bottom and then always climb up at the very last minute, just like our team in Pro.
It's like a patented strategy
exactly.
for them at this point.
Yeah,
all right, guys, go ahead and write off the Pod People. Oh, here they come again.
I know, right?
I'll be honest. My immediate thought is, wow, thank God we play them this season, because I would be so crushed if they ruined our playoff dreams 2 seasons in a row. That would be really heartbreaking, I won't lie. I mean, I love them to pieces, but man, last season, 1 point. You
guys have any thoughts on Chaos Theory? I mean, they look strong on paper. And looking at their wins and losses, I think probably the biggest issue is they just haven't been getting wins, and it looks like they're close because they have 88 points and they're 1-6. So
yeah, I blame the captain. Step it up, Isaac, please.
So can you imagine if they won like 3 more games? That's another 6 points, 7 points, 9 points. 9 points there that they're getting, and that puts them right there with the Pod People. So picking up the W's are important in some cases, and I'm looking forward to Chaos Theory sticking around next season and maybe just making a couple changes, see what they can do.
So the main thing I just want to say quickly with regards to, because like as you said, they're not statistically out of it, but I think the trickiest part in figuring out where teams stand and how much they're in it or not is that even though the point gaps are not super large within red, the problem is when you have so many teams that are fighting for these spots and there's so many teams that are inevitably going to gain points, making it that much harder to catch up to everybody ahead of you. So the problem is, even though points-wise there's not a huge gap that Chaos Theory necessarily has to meet and make up, there are a lot of teams ahead of them that are inevitably, like if they win next week, there's obviously going to be several teams that also win, so catching up to them just becomes that much more difficult. So I'm not necessarily sure if it's really feasible for within 2 weeks at least to not only get enough points to catch up to like certain teams that are ahead of them, but to catch up to enough teams that are ahead of them, knowing how many teams are in this conference.
They just got to have weeks like they did week 1.
Basically.
Dominant 23 points, and they're back on track. So,
for sure.
It's
Then they
crunch
just
time,
catch up to
Chaos Theory.
everybody like that. But I will also just say it's pretty impressive that this is a team that's 1-6, and yet like they're still very much in it. They're barely behind all these other teams that have significantly better records than them. I
Yeah,
really think
clearly
that should be
competitive, just
applauded.
close losses.
Yeah, I mean, you think about this. This chaos theory is probably. I mean, think about how many games are played throughout a season. You got, um, what, 11 weeks or 10 weeks times 5. That's 50 matches. So imagine if they won 3 more matches, and they lost, and they're probably in a good position to go to the
Yep.
playoffs. So very close. Unfortunate, but that's where you live and you learn, and you practice and get better. So I'm
Yep.
good on them. Let's go to the commercial break here.
All right, guys. I know you love your promotions. So
Even when we
we
force it
got
down your
another
throat.
we got another commercial coming at you here. Please consider subscribing to our channel. This subscription enables the THL team to help cover the various costs of operating our website, as well as improve the quality of our streams and content to our viewers. If you have Amazon Prime or Twitch Prime, you can still sub to this channel for free. Subscribers will get a THL emoticon as well as the lovely THL chat badge. Thank you so much for tuning in to Tavern Talk. If you're enjoying our show, make sure you check out Wild and Out on Mondays, The Saloon on Tuesdays, and Hearth Center on Wednesdays, right here at twitch.tv/Team Hearth Legends. And what's that? That's not enough content for you? Well, we stream THL matches on Fridays from 8 to 10, Saturdays from 8 to 10, and on Sundays as well. Sunday match scheduled to be determined by caster and player availability. No purchase necessary, void where prohibited. But wait, that's not all. We also have incredible written content available at www.teamhearthlegends.com. Surely that is everything. You must be asking yourself, well, friends, there is more. THL is also home to one of the best Hearthstone Discord servers in this universe. So hit that heart button and keep the notifications on to make sure you catch our team broadcasting live. We appreciate each and every one of you. And special note to our viewers, check out THL's other social media points of interest, our website, teamhearthlegends.com. Follow us on Twitter at THL_HS. Join us on Discord at Team Hearth Legends. And make sure you check out the THL POW podcast, wherever you find your podcasts, for all the comprehensive rankings of every team in every series. Now back to you guys.
One thing I want to point out is I think we're the only show that does a commercial break. I think you kind of pointed that out at the beginning of your. Because
No. Actually, we do a commercial break on
You
Saloon.
do? Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
I was remembering when I first started opping the show, it was there, so I just put it in, and everybody read it every week. And so I was just wondering, like, did I just is this like just one of those things that we just do and nobody says, and it's just a continual thing? Anyway, uh, let's move over to the review. We're going to talk about Hot Zilfs and Murgle, and I believe, Ron, this is yours.
Yes, I am so hyped to talk about this match. We have the
Forget that
top
rope.
teams
Second
in
rope.
gold. Both teams at 123 points. Both teams at 6-1. Hot Zilf's on a 6-game winning streak. Murgle on a 4-game winning streak. And Donde has already got a match in. A victory over Dibs here, a 3-1, putting Zilfs up 4-1. By no means does this, decide the match yet. There's a lot of games left to be played, but definitely good for Zilfs to see a lead early. I think this is going to be hotly contested throughout. I can see a lot of 5-game series coming up. There's this whole series, I think, is going to be decided on razor thin margins, and I think the edges to the players. I've got Coles taking the 1 over Dabs. I think Buse gets a victory over Rabobson in the 2. I think Anfal is going to win the 4 over Debs, and in the 5 seed, I have such a hard time picking against G-Kick. He's been on fire throughout the entire season. I think he gets the 5 for Murgle. looking like both these teams will probably still make playoffs, and this could just be a preview of what's to come. This one, I think, goes 3-2 to the Zilfs.
I'm gonna have to agree with you on this. I think Donde picking up the win is sort of that. To me, before if the match wasn't played, it was that flex match, and I think Donde picking up the win really kind of sort of helps out the Zilfs there, and in that 3-2 era. I think I'm gonna have to give it to Coles in the 1. I think we're Bob in the 2, and then I'm gonna go Debs and G Kick in the 4 and the 5 for Mergle Mergle. And I think it's gonna be very close. And again, I think I agree. This could be a semifinals or maybe even a finals match that we might see between these two. JR?
So I really want to call this like a 3-2 like both of you, but I don't know. It's like, this is no disrespect to Mergle Mergle because they're a fantastic team, but looking at the matchups, I don't know. I feel like Zilfs just have more momentum. So I'm going to say Coles or Bobson take their matches as well as Anful. And so I think the only win that Mergle Mergle gets is in the 5 with G Kick. I think all these matches are going to still be pretty close. But that's just the impression I'm getting from a glance.
Well, that theory could be supported by the Demon Hunter on one side and lack of Demon Hunter on the other side, so we'll see if maybe the nerfs are significant here too.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that too. They all brought DH, and I'm wondering how important DH is going to be to their wins here. I mean, it's not like Hero where you can lose with it and it doesn't matter, but in this circumstance, it does matter. You have to win with DH, and I wonder if they're going to come up with lists that are different, or if they're going to have similar lists. Maybe you keep the similar list, maybe you don't. We kind of talked about it earlier, but who knows? I think it's going to come down to that, to be honest, if they can pick up a win.
Right. I mean, the nice thing about a closest format is that people have time, some extra time to kind of figure out what they want to do about their exact deck list for Demon Hunter. But it is very intriguing because I know for me personally, I'm not sure if Demon Hunter is going to stay remotely the same and just be less powerful, or if there's going to be a lot of refining of the decks, of the deck lists that people have been using. Because like I said, Twin Slice did further a lot, and maybe some cards are either less effective or they just feel like you need a slightly different strategy given the switch up.
All right, you guys ready for the next one?
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right, well, we're going to be talking about Teenage Mutant Demon Hunters versus Amberflight Gaming, and JR, take it away.
So this one, I feel like this is going to be like the one that people go to immediately and think, okay, Amberflight Gaming is 1-6. Teenage Mutant Demon Hunters are 4-3. This week they got Heat Shock back. Like, come on, like this is their match to win. And I mean, I'm still going to predict them to win, but I don't think Amberflight Gaming should be counted out. And I mean, Teenage Mutant Demon Hunters, they met. You could argue they lost a little bit of momentum from last week. They might be a little. I could see them being a little faltering a bit still, or maybe they're just going to use that loss and just wreck through Amberflight this week. Because either way, I hope that these guys are not underestimating their opponents, knowing how huge a win here is going to be for them going into these last 2 weeks. Prediction-wise, I mean, it's really hard to pick against Heat Shock this week's. In general. So I'm going to say he wins over Ninja Boston. I think Jimmy is going to take it over Dragon Rider, though I could easily see Dragon Rider pulling off the upset. Do not let that PR fool you. Or Mumkid's going to take the win over Christine. And I'm going to say Bitbeaker and Krakowak take it in the 4 and the 5 to keep it close. I'm sorry. I know Super Murloc's is in the chat. I'm sorry I'm betting against you. It's no offense. It's just I gotta be somewhat fair and reasonable to the other team. Okay.
That's how he works. He works under pressure.
He was excited for it. He wanted you to pick against him. Now he's got.
I know.
That
I mean he's just gonna be like, but I gave you my wife as a sub, and I've been nothing but supportive towards you guys. What the hell, man? And I mean, he's not wrong. I don't have an answer there.
Ron, what do you think?
This one, I gotta say that I guess I'm in that camp that JR was describing at the start of covering this match, because I think Teenage Mutant Demon Hunters is just way too strong. Neji Boston, I would probably pick in most matches, given the PR and the record so far. But he's playing Heat Shock, and as a general rule, I don't pick against Heat Shock. Heat Shock is an absolute monster at playing Hearthstone, and I think he's going to beat every opponent that he plays. I think Jimmy versus Dragon Rider is going to be a very interesting match. Dragon Rider will give him a challenge, but Jimmy is also completely incredible as a player. I think the 4-3 record is deceptive. I think he's going to win the 2. I think your Mumked wins in the 3. I think Murloc wins in the 4, and I think Rage wins in the 5. That's a straight up 5-0 for Teenage Mutant Demon Hunters.
All right, I'm gonna go a little bit different than you guys. If we had the turd upset sound here, I would play it right now. I think Amberflight Gaming is coming off. There you go, Ron. Go ahead.
Yeah, improvising.
Amberflight coming off their first win and looking to continue that win. I think they're going to continue it this week. I think it's going to be close. But I think I'm going to give them the win. I think here's how I think they're going to do it. I think Neji Boston in the 1, Dragon Rider in the 2, and then I'm going to go with Christine in the 3. She picks up her second win, and so the top 3 take it, and then Bitbeaker and Krakowak get the L's. But I'm going to go 3-2 Amberflight Gaming with the wins over Teenage Mutant Demon Hunters.
Nice. We're all over the map with these picks. I like it.
Yeah. All right, we're going to move on to the next match, which is Distubs versus the Noyo team, and we have 2 results already. We have the 3 and the 4, both very different results for each team. The Big Ted picking up a 3-1 win over Zethund, and Mad at Arms picking up a sweep over Kurafinwi at 3-0. Kind of giving a Noyo team a 5-4 win, and I think this is a much needed boost to a Noyo team if they can pick up this W. They're not out of it, but they're like 20 some odd points I think out of 4th place. So I think if they're gonna get in, they're gonna need to really push these last few weeks and pick up sort of these massive wins. The 3-1 to Zethun sort of hurts that, but I'm impressed. I think another team has some potential. But here we go. I'm gonna go right here starting from the 1. I think Ron, I think you take the 1. I'm gonna say Oz takes the 2. Obviously, Big Ted takes the 3. Mad at Arms takes the 4. And I'm going to say Totino's takes the 5. 3-2 to Stubbs. Another team just barely lose, even though despite their lead right now. JR, what do you think?
This one, oh man, this one is going to be close because I think the biggest takeaway here is like the win of this match is going to be like pretty impactful. Because if the Stubbs win, they get themselves in better position to just secure that playoff spot for for the end of the season. If a Noya team wins, they're not in it. But I will say, I think if there's any team you do want to get you would want to get a win against at the very end of the season, it's definitely the Stubbs, a team that's in 4th, that is far ahead of you, but also like if you knock them down a bit, you definitely put yourself in a much better position, like going into the final week, even if that's still going to be a bit of a long shot. So I got to say Ron and Oz are going to take those wins. So that already gives Distubs the 3 wins. And I think Totino's Pizza is going to take the 5. So I'm going to say 3-2 Distubs.
Ron?
All right, my team here. It's playoff run time. We gotta show up and play as strong as possible to punch our tickets. So 5-0 Stubbs, no bias, easy. Wait a minute, wait. There's already a result. Okay, fine. 4-1 Stubbs, easy, no bias.
It's like he would go 5-0 if that wasn't the case.
But I hate to put pressure on you guys, but I think this is a big week for you guys.
Oh, absolutely.
A Noyo team is not an easy team to beat, but it is one of the lower ranked teams that you're expected to win against. So if you do get an L, that puts you in a very difficult position coming up for that 4 seed, and you're maybe looking at some other people stealing that. So like I said, it's your four seed to lose right now.
Absolutely. With some tough competition right on our heels, which
Yeah.
kind of transitions us right over to the next match between Blood Bloomers and Defias Brotherhood.
Yeah, this is a
Um, and Blood Bloomers is actually the team that's right
Yep.
behind the Stubbs right now. Stubbs win over Blood Bloomers notwithstanding, they can easily get right back in it. And I think this is the week where Blood Bloomers gets right back on track too. Um, this is going to be an exciting one throughout. Defias was actually one of the teams that handed Stubbs a loss too, so they're by no means a team to count out. I think the way this match plays out, though, the Blood Bloomers do have a slight edge. I'm giving it to Adam in the 1. I think Sanguine takes the 2. I think Avagwi's going to pick up the victory in the 3 seed. Calling it for Neb Canuck over Starkey over Medusas in the 4. He's having a bit of a struggle in Legacy. I guess he's saving all his efforts for my hero team, which I appreciate, buddy. Just keep winning in hero. It doesn't matter. You don't need to win in Legacy. And in the 5 seed, I am calling a bit of an upset here, if it can really be called that, with players of these records. I think Silver picks up a big win over Mojo Powell for the Blood Bloomers in the 5, and that gives it to them 3-2.
JR, what do you think?
One is both one of the closest matches to call this week, and I would also say probably arguably the most impactful, because one of these teams is going to put themselves in a great position to potentially make playoffs if with a win next week. But the other one, the one that loses, I feel like they're going to need a pretty big miracle to actually pull it off given the current standings. I could be wrong, depending on how the matches with just Stubbs and Teenage Mutant Demon Hunters go, but that's what I'm sticking to for now. With all that said, I think this is going to be a close 3-2 win by Defias Brotherhood, taking the 3 through 5, and I think the Blood Blooms are going to take the 1 and the 2.
Yeah, again, I'm gonna have to echo that. I think this is very important for both of these teams, for that potential. They're not in the 4th spot, but that potential 4th spot. Wait, Blood Boomers are they in the 4th spot? No, right?
No, they're in the.
Uh,
I think they're 5.
5.
Yeah, the 5th
Yeah.
spot. Yeah.
The
So
This is
Stubbs are
5
4.
and 6.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this is a very important for both of these teams to pick up a W this week. Not picking up a W puts you in the hole more. And right now, when you're vying for that 4th spot, picking up an L is going to hurt you. So
Runs out on me.
I'm gonna differ from you, JR. I think the Blood Boomers do pick up the win. I'm gonna go 1 and 2 go to the Blood Boomers. I think they've been playing strong, and the 1 and 2 in the Defias have been struggling a little bit. But I'm gonna echo Ron. I think Silver T does pick up the W in the 5. I think it's a little bit of an upset. I know Mojo is 6 and 1, but I think Silver T picks up the win there, and I'm gonna give it 3-2, Blood Boomers as well. Agreeing with Ron.
Right on.
All right. So we'll move on to the last match, JR, of the Gold Conference. That's always Top Deck Lethal versus Serenite Pangang, with one result already in.
Ooh, what's the result?
I'm not sure if it's... Oh, yeah, that wasn't there.
Yeah, it's posted on the screen.
Blood Hunter gets his first win, 3-1 over A2 Battleship. I would
Wow.
have not have guessed that.
That's actually shocking.
Yeah, I would
That
have
is
not had
the-
guessed
really
that at all.
surprised.
Last.
Yeah.
I was about to say I felt extremely confident that A2 was going to take that. He's like, I feel really bad for you. He's my hero teammate. I think he's an incredibly strong player, but he has definitely had very mixed results going into the mid and latter parts of the season. I mean, you look at Legacy, and he won his first 2 weeks and was very dominant. But if I remember correctly, this is his 6th loss in a row. And I really hope that I think he's going to turn it around. But yeah, that's obviously a very rough position to be in, especially going up against somebody that, I mean, just given when you see someone who's 0-7, you've got to feel very confident. But besides that, I would say that this is still a week that ATL is kind of looking at this and going, okay, guys, we're playing up against a team that's been struggling. Like, a win here would be super important, not just because, like, this is a team we know we can beat, but because if we get a win, like, that's just going to put us in a much better position going into the final week. I do think Serenite Pangang is not a team to obviously be underestimated. Now, I felt very confident picking ATL, and I'm still going to give it to them. But I definitely think that if picking up that win means that Serenite Pang, I think that makes this match overall much more contentious. So I'm going to say Pond takes the 1, Brick takes the 3, Matty Epps takes the 4, and Travis Chrono takes the 5. So ATL still takes it 3-2.
Ron, what do you think, buddy?
So this one, yeah, I mean, I can't get over that 2 seed loss there. That's really surprising to me. But sometimes those things happen. You can't just write off a player because they're 0-7. The PR was 346 for a reason, I'm sure. We've got Dr. Bomb D, I think, is going to get a win in the 1 seed. He's been really impressing me throughout the other series too, and I think his PR is probably a little bit lower than what it really is going to be. I think Brick takes the 3. I think Matty Ebbs is going to pick up the win in the 4 seed, and I think Shunsui picks up the win in the 5. So I would have said 4-1 ATL, but with that result, I think it's still 3-2 ATL.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you guys. I think ATL does pick up the W here, but I think it's going to be very close. ATL needs to pick up a win in this match because they're in that 97 point, and Serenite Pangang is a team that's been struggling all season, and you don't want to lose to a struggling team because that means that your remaining matches will be against teams that are not struggling. So they're only a few points behind the Stubbs, and if they want to get into that playoff spot, they have to win here. And losing the 2 seed in that manner is really kind of puts a damper on their chances to win. But I do think that they come back. I'm gonna go with Free Hong Kong with the win in the 1. I'm gonna go with Brick in the 3, and then I'm also gonna give the win to Matty Ebbs as well in the 4, and Travis in the 5. So 3-2 ATL.
I think it's going to be close. The one last thing I will say also is that I did just check the schedule, and ATL plays Teenage Mutant Demon Hunters next week. So I think that really makes this win all the more necessary for them.
Yeah, they really need.
Schedule's getting tougher.
In reality, they're going to want to win the last 4 matches of this because picking up a W is good, but you really need those points coming in here when point crunches are happening.
Especially when some teams can miss playoffs easily by just a couple points. Like people say, every point makes a difference, and I always find that if I lose, I'm much happier with a loss where I at least got 2 points compared to a loss where I got 0.
For sure.
Awesome. Well, let's move over to the Red Conference. We're going to talk about the first match of the Red Conference. Ron, take it away.
All right, so we got Good Luck Albatrosses and Hearthstone Academy, and this is entertaining. We've got a team on the rise in HSA and the best team in Legacy in Good Luck Albatrosses, and this is my bold pick of the week. I say down goes Good Luck Albatrosses here. Hearthstone Academy has found wild player extraordinaire super sub Duwin filling in the 4 seed. And I think not only are they going to win, but they're going to surprise Good Luck Albatrosses with a dominant win. I think Based wins. I think Booze wins. I think Dusharmo gets the only win for Good Luck Albatrosses. And Duwin and Sage bring it home for HSA for a 4-1.
Wow. That was surprising. JR?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm not more surprised is because I read the show notes.
True. Kind of tips the hand a little bit.
Yeah, it does. Admittedly.
Well, I'm going to say this from an unbiased position. This is a win that Hearthstone Academy needs. They need to pick up a W off the top team in Red Conference, and they need it now because even though they're in second place, they're only a few points behind being knocked out of the playoffs in general. So picking up a W over Good Luck Albatrosses would be enormous for them. And for the Good Luck Albatrosses, an L doesn't really matter. They've already solidified probably the 1 seed. They're 30 some odd, 20 some odd, 27 points.
I feel like you're mathematically locked in there, basically.
Yeah, well, I mean, Good Luck Albatrosses could literally just not do anything this week and still be in first place. So I think Good Luck Albatrosses are not going to lay down and let them win. But at the same time, I think Hearthstone Academy really has to feel the pressure here to pick up this W. I'm going to have to disagree with you because it's my team. I'm going to say 4-1, for Good Luck Albatross, but Ghosts gets me in the 3. And Ghost and I have a long relationship because he spectates me a lot and just to kind of watch me and see how I play. So I'm going to give him the W there.
Wow, nice.
Yep. Any other thoughts, guys?
So I'm at this point where I want to pick GLA to win for the reasons I stated before, that I feel like, GLA losing doesn't exactly help us, and if they win, they allow us to catch up to Hearthstone Academy in some way, or at least stay within point distance of them, so I'm cool with that. But I also don't want to jinx them by saying GLA wins 5-0, so I don't know. I feel like I definitely say GLA wins. I think the only matches that I feel really are going to be really contested are honestly the 1 and the 2, because Lotus and Inzi obviously have the bigger PRs, but Based has shown that she can definitely handle it in the 1 seed. The PR is not really a good reflection, and Booze is 6-1 and has taken down some big name players before, so wins in there are possible. So, all right, I'm going to say 4-1 GLA. Based gets the win over Lotus.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough week for us. Oh, sorry. All right, there we go. This is going to be a tough week for us, and I wouldn't be surprised if they win. I mean, across the board, they PR-wise, they do kind of match up with us really well. So, but we'll see.
I think it's just going to come down to whether you guys can continue to have that momentum you've had pretty much all season. I think if you keep it up, especially if Mike and Chewbacca continue to win, I don't see you guys losing this.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, it'll be fun to watch.
Let's move on to the next one. I'm taking this one. This is Redacted versus Illy Dilly's Death Knights.
Illy Dilly.
I think these are a very important match for both of these teams. Both of these teams are in a playoff spot right now, both in the 3 and the 4. But I think one of these teams is going to sort of solidify their position. The good thing about teams below these 2 teams that we just faced, GLA is facing a Hearthstone Academy, and Redacted's facing Illidilly's Death Knights. That's the 1 versus the 2, and the 3 versus the 4. So some of those teams somewhere, if GLA beats Hearthstone Academy, and one of these 2 teams here is going to bump down, that's going to bump up those teams from the lower ranks here. So this is a very important match for both these teams, Redacted and Illidan's Death Knights. And I think that whoever loses this match gets knocked out of the playoffs. I think another team from the bottom is going to get bumped up there. And looking at here from the match-wise, I think Redacted, I'm sorry, but I think Redacted picks up the W here. I think it's going to be close, but I think they're going to pick up the W. I'm going to go with Agent PWE and No Glocko in the 1 and the 2. Actually, I'm going to give Pasca the 3 as well. I'm going to give Siege the 4, and I'm going to give Stake the 5, so it's not going to be close. So, sorry. 4-1, I'm going to go Redacted over Illidilly's Death Knights. And I know you're upset, but I'm kind of going with my gut here. I don't like that priest that Kel brings priest every week, and it just doesn't work. I mean, just if you look at the stats, but hey, it's his favorite class. So, Ron, what do you think? You going to echo or you disagree?
Well, I have to disagree that the team that loses is going to get knocked out of the playoffs here. I think they're both contenders. I think regardless of who loses, the winner's going to be in great shape, and the loser's still going to have a really good chance at making it. But it's just going to be, kind of a much tighter series of games where they really have to win. But I do think Redacted is also going to win this one. I think it'll be a little bit closer. I think PWE takes the win in the 1. I've got a lot of faith in Marty Brodeur right now. I think he's going to grab the 2 seed. I can't even pick against Pasca anymore in any series.
He beat me.
I was trolling when I picked against you last week, JR, but this week I just don't think anyone can stop Pasca. So I got him in the 3. Siege in the 4, and I think Snakevods gets the victory over Jerry in the 5, since you don't have the super sub Quirky Turtle anymore, and I don't know where Jerry's going to be at as far as focus is concerned with his first week back. So I think Redacted takes a 3-2.
So I will just say, in regards to Jerry, he's definitely taking the time to actually really prep. The biggest problem with why he lost his last 2 matches before he took his break was because even he admitted he thought he could just kind of get by without really preparing, without really doing the work he needed to do in order to be all set for his matches. Now he actually does have the time, and even though he's still got other stuff going on, he definitely feels much more confident in his ability to understand the meta and practice his decks accordingly. So, Quirky Turtle is a boss. Nobody will deny that. But I definitely think Jerry is more than up to the task of filling in those shoes. But I'll be honest, I kind of just want to say everybody except me wins because I have to play against Pasca, who is on a tear in both Legacy and Hero, if I remember correctly.
Hey, that's a solid strategy. That's the Quaz from Hero.
Yeah, so
4-1, everyone but you wins.
I mean, I think I know I could beat Pasca. I know Pasca's a really good player, but I know that this could go a number of different ways. It's just I gotta see what happens here. But yeah, I'm gonna say Catman beats Agent PWE, Marty beats No Glocko, Siege beats Kel, and Jerry beats Snake Fods. So and you know what? I'm used to just being on the underdog team, and you guys have gone against us the last 2 weeks, and we've still won. So I'm prepared to prove you guys wrong for a 3rd week in a row.
Well, and also I was looking at the teams here, your schedules here. You guys, this is the 8th week, so we got 1 more week left of the season. So 2 more left. And you guys face F2L Red next, a struggling team.
Correct.
So if you guys can pick the W here, I think maybe that it puts you guys in a really solid position to sort of take that playoff spot. Redacted, on the other hand, they face the Pod people who have been on fire these past few weeks. So I think this is also important for Redacted to pick up this W. And if they don't pick up this W, we might see Redacted fall out and Pod people come in and take that spot in the playoffs. And I wouldn't doubt that Pod people could do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Honestly, I'm just extremely excited for next week because there's going to be a lot of discussion as far as the playoff picture goes and a lot of possible scenarios to discuss as far as who could make it, who's likely to make it, who's definitely going to make it. Because I get this impression that even after this week, the only team that's still going to be solidified for the playoffs is going to be GLA.
All right, so let's move over to the 3rd match of the playoffs here. This is JR's Beast Mode versus Pod People with a result already in, and I think you can already see that.
Yes, that is already in there. So we already have Wicked Good sweeping Copper Talon 3-0, and that's definitely a very big win for the Pod People. I mean, as you can see from the point totals, they were very close. They were actually 1 point apart from each other going into this week. And both of these teams are right behind Redacted and IDK. So a lot of crazy things happening. But this is also one of those situations I was kind of saying before where, because all the teams are so close, some teams are going to kind of move up and others are guaranteed to go down. So it's really going to be hard to get a clear picture of what's going on until next week. But in terms of what I think is going to happen with this particular match, well, let's see. I think Ridiculous Hat is going to beat Avi. I think that's going to be a very close one, but it's kind of a coin flip at this point. Both of these players are so strong. I think Zeroshio is going to take it over Zancat. I see he brought the Paladin this week, so I'm extremely excited to see how that works out for him. I think Starlax is going to take it over Bill Snyder, because even though I think Bill is a fantastic player, he's definitely struggling this season in Legacy, at least, so I don't think he has as much momentum on his side. And then I think 8-Bit is going to take it over Saku. So I think Pod People take it 4-1, but I could easily see it being much closer than that. Yeah,
and I think I'm going to have to say what I said the other match. I think the team that wins this match is knocked out of the playoffs. I think this is more likely that I mean, you look at it here. I mean, they're both. It's got one more match left, and if you're suffering to get, they're already behind the points as it is. So if they're going to be even more behind the curve, I think it's going to be even harder. So the win here by Wicked Good 3-0 over Copper Talon, it puts Pod People up in a very good position, and I'm going to have to think that Pod People win. I'm gonna give the Pod People a 4-1 win. I'm gonna go Avi in the 1. I think our hat does lose, but I think the Pod People take the rest.
Oh, wow.
I think that's bold. I will just say I think the only problem with that assessment of if a team, like, kind of to go back on what Ron was saying, like, if a team loses right now, like, there's going to be other teams in the playoff hunt that also lose. So I think it's really going to depend on how many points you pick up in the event that you lose and what the overall standing is going to look like from the other matches. I don't think one match result is really going to dictate the overall playoff picture. I think it's going to be, we're going to have to take all the match results next week, see what the current standings look like after that, and that'll give a much clearer picture. But I don't think any of these teams, if they lose, are going to be outright, like, out of contention. I think it's just going to require it's going to be much more situational for them to actually make it.
Well, let me clarify as well. I don't mean that I think they're going to be out. It's just a prediction.
Oh, okay.
I obviously, if Beast Mode lose, they could still have a chance. They're not out of it by any stretch of the imagination. It's just my bold prediction that I think of the other two matches. I think that I'm sort of echoing that. You know what? These are must-needed wins right now, and so and they're going to have hard-pressed chance to make that playoff if either one of those teams loses. But if they make the playoffs.
Given the points that both of these teams are at right now, 98 and 97, it's really important to get a win for both of these teams.
And neither of these teams is if we had put a stop on the playoffs now, neither of these teams is in the playoffs. So there is a chance that neither of these teams make the playoffs. But
yeah, true. Like, even after, whoever wins might still miss it. Just to run through real quick, because I know we ran out of time on this one on the rope there, but I think this one's going to be real close. I see it going either way, and I think our hat probably takes a pivotal win in the 1. I've got Zancat in the 2, Starlax in the 3, Wicked Good, of course, already won, and I think 8-Bit picks up the victory for Beast Mode in the 5, but that's going to be a 3-2 for Pod People. And I mean, I really can see Pod People making playoffs. How about Wicked Good and the streak he's on right now? He had a rocky start to the season, but he's on a 4-game win streak. So he was 1-3. Now he's 5-3, and he's gone 3-1, 3-1, 3-0, 3-0 in his last 4 weeks. So he's really hit his groove, and I think it's coming at exactly the right time, just right out of Pod People's playbook. I'm calling it now. I think that this is going to be the 4 seed for Red.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to agree with that. I know we're out of time here, but I think this is a very important match to talk about, and I was looking at the schedule of each of these players. Pod People plays Redacted next week, so if Pod People pick up the win,
that's big.
Redacted could get knocked out if Redacted loses, and Pod People win here, and then Pod People win next week. This is just crunch time for all these teams.
Yeah.
And Beast Mode
who doesn't love playoff scenarios? Yeah. It's great.
And Beast Mode plays Chaos Theory, which is a very struggling team. So if Beast Mode can get the W this week, they might be able to solidify their playoff spot this week if they can ensure that they can get that W next week.
Yeah, and
I
Chaos
there's
Theory
there's going to be so much to talk about next week. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
I mean, they're likely out of it, but not necessarily, especially if they can pick up a big victory over Dirty Mike and the boys, which is our next match.
Absolutely. And this is a very, very interesting match. I think Dirty Mike and the boys need to pick up the W this week. Chaos Theory is not an easy team, as we saw last week, to beat. And Chaos Theory always picks up points. And again, Chaos Theory is not out of it. They're only, 13 points or so. 13 points or so.
Oh, and breaking news from Mike Lowe, coming in with a 3-1 victory over Surlos.
Very
So
good.
Chaos Theory looking to make some noise,
Yeah.
stir some chaos,
That's my
as it
man,
were.
Mike. That's my man, Mike, over there.
Yeah, big win there, and they're going to need every point they can get. So Mike Lowe showing
For the
up big.
record, I was predicting him to win that match anyway, but I appreciate the
Yeah.
heads up.
That's awesome. Big
Yeah,
win
that's
for
pretty
Mike
big for
Lowe.
them.
I think it's going to be hard for Chaos Theory. They need some things to go their way from other teams to lose and lose big
Right.
and not gain points. Um, I think Dirty Mike and the boys is a strong team. I think they can rebound from it. GLA got one loss, and it was to the Dirty Mike and the boys. So
Week 1, remember?
yeah,
Week 1 of the season.
so Dirty Mike and the boys has potential. Um, I think that this is an important match for both of these. I mean, we're getting a crunch town, and each of these teams need to win. I'm gonna go here. Here we go. I'm gonna go Fuel in the one. I think Fuel gets the W here. I think it's gonna be close. I could go either way. I think Hockey Boys could pick the W as well. I think Isaac rebounds this week, and I think he gets the win in the 2. Obviously, Mike got the win in the 3. I'm going to go F. Srirachi in the 4 over Lefty, and then I'm going to go Astrofog in the 5, Frog in the 5. So I'm going to give Chaos Theory their second win, and they're going to win 3-2. And if Chaos Theory really wants to make that playoff push, they're going to need to go 5-0 here. Really, just like do what they did the first week.
Yeah, I think you might be right. It's funny. I feel like we have the exact same take on this one here, Dusharmo. Maybe you read my show notes in advance.
I didn't actually.
Because I've got Fuel in the 1, Isocles in the 2, Mike in the 3, F. Srirachi in the 4, and Astral Frog in the 5. I think Chaos Theory does take the victory here, 3-2, but it might just be not enough points with not enough time left in the season to really get there.
Quick thoughts, JR?
So Chaos Theory could take a lot of pressure off themselves if they get a big win, but I think it's I think the bottom line is how their standing is gonna be very much dependent on how other teams do in the event that they get a win. Like, a win is the most important thing, but the other teams and how they do are going to be a big factor. That being said, I'm gonna say that Hockey, Mike Lowe and F. Srirachi pick up the wins that they need for a 3-2 win, and Tony Montana and Astro Frog pick up wins for Dirty Mike and the boys. I still think they're still going to have to put in some work week 9 in order to secure that playoff position. But I think, but again, depending on how some other matches go, they may be in a better position than we currently realize.
Absolutely. Let's move on to the last match. It's Dad Legend versus F2L. Two teams that are fighting to get that 4th spot.
Yeah, and they're closer to the bottom of the standings here. So unless we see a 5-0 for their team, they might just be kind of in the same position. F2L Red with even less points than Chaos Theory right now, and Dad Legend slightly above them, but currently in 8th place. To where if this is a war of attrition match, then I think both teams are likely out, and I think that's how it's going to go down. These are really closely matched teams. F2L Red, despite their performance this season, looked stacked to start the season, and I still feel like they can give a lot of teams challenges. I think MMI is going to take the win over Zabe in the 1. I think Ox picks up the victory in the 2 seed over Mayan. And I've got Yellow Dart winning in the 3, Durden in the 4, and Turd Herder in the 5 for a 3-2 Dad Legend that just bleeds away enough points that they're likely going to miss the playoffs.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, I think Dad Legend is in a good position to win here. They have, I mean, they're facing a very tough team. But I think Dad Legend faces GLA next week, and so it's going to be. I mean, they could get the W there, but it's going to be tough for them to really make the playoffs. I don't doubt that they could. So I'm going to go with you on this one. Dad Legend, I think, win. I think I'm gonna go Honest Zabe. I'm gonna say Liquid Oxygen. No, I'm gonna say Myadodon. Never mind. Take that back. Myadodon in the 2, Yellow Dart in the 3, Durden in the 4. You know what? Sweep. Dad Legend 5-0 over F2L Red.
Ooh.
You know what?
Well,
I was gonna
that gives them enough. They might get there now.
yeah. I'm gonna say Dad Legend 5-0. You know what?
Oh, real quick too, Saku on a 22-month subscription streak. Thank you, Saku,
Hey,
the legend himself.
he is a legend, a Canadian legend, but a legend all the
And
same.
thank you, Saku. Amazing stream op extraordinaire. Guy who showed me all the ropes on how to do all this stuff in the THL. So and I'm
He's
glad
an
he's here.
international treasure.
If he wasn't in the THL, I don't know. I honestly don't know how we would do it. So thank you, Saku.
For sure.
Jr. Quickly, you wanna go? I keep saying.
Oh,
quickly.
yeah,
I'm making you the
I'm
last
gonna-
one to talk.
I'll do. I'm gonna say F2L Red takes this one 3-2. I don't think there's anything else I really have to add as far as the logistics of it. I think the 1, 2, and the 5 are going to take the wins there. But I think this is definitely going to come down to. This is going to be a close one.
Yep.
All right. That about does it in terms of all of our in terms of all of our matches. You guys got any closing thoughts? I know this is the playoffs. We got one more week after this, and then we'll be casting some playoffs. Ron, you won't be joining us next week, but I believe you will be joining us the last week of the THL. You're welcome to join us next week too if you can make it. I know you got a lot of stuff going on.
Appreciate it.
But yeah,
Being busy in the saloon.
yeah. And I want to.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's really exciting just to see how the rest of this legacy season is shaping up, and we're almost at the end. The playoffs are really starting to kind of form a picture there, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what the next 2 weeks are going to bring.
Great.
JR, any last thoughts?
I'm honestly, now that I'm a part of Tavern Talk, I'm extremely excited to talk about the playoff picture because I feel like that's always one of the most fun things to discuss. I know I'm super analytical in THL, so I always and very statistical, so I'm always trying to figure out what are the point gaps that need to be overcome, what are which are the teams that are in the best position to actually win based on several factors. So I'm extremely excited to see how these matches play out and what we will ultimately be which teams will kind of be the big the hot topic talking points for next week.
Yeah, I mean, I'm tempted to just come back on anyway as a guest, just because week 9 we've got playoff picture to talk about. So I'll see if I can find time. But
Yeah,
you guys
definitely.
are
And
in
I would
good
love to
hands
have
otherwise.
you and Brushy on at the same time. Maybe get a
The
little preview.
banter.
Because the next time you're going to be on is going to be the Legacy Finals interview. So we'll be talking to whoever wins the Legacy match. So maybe you'll be
Ooh,
on
yeah,
anyway.
that's
I don't know.
Hey,
If
it
you
could
guys win.
happen.
But
Here's hoping.
yeah. Well, I'm hoping. So, and I think JR, we all have teams that are in playoff race here. So
I know,
That's right.
right?
good luck to everybody. Have fun. Thank you to Dano again for stepping in. We got some really good hosts here. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you have any suggestions on how to make this better, we'll do our best. I'm learning here. Next week, I'm going to try to have a running script of where we're at in the show, so you can actually see it like Hearth Center does, and obviously Saloon does it as well. So I'm going to try to work on that. And I've been working on timing my stuff right and not messing up. I had a little bit less slip-ups this week than I've had in the past, so I'm going to keep working on that.
Oh, you did great this week, man.
But,
Yeah.
But thank you guys, and have a great day. Have a great match.
Later, all.
Take care.